What's up guys, Basic Battles here, and today we are doing a quick fight sim because I realized that these two both have models and ratings Speed Forever mod. So yeah, we're doing that. We do it every day. Ooh, voice crack. We do it every time before the fights. I guess we're gonna do that now. I don't know. I think next week is Tybura versus Spivak. I don't think. I think at least one of them doesn't have. I don't know. Tybura might have a model, but I don't think Spivak does. So I don't think we'll do it next week. But the week after is obviously Izzy versus DDP, so we'll do it then too. But yeah, Umar versus Cory Sandhagen. Very exciting fight. Should be really fun. It's in Abu Dhabi, so we'll just any ref matter anyways. So yeah, very excited for this fight. Should be exciting. I mean, obviously, me personally, I'm not a fan that Umar got a top 3 fight. Even though he has not beaten a ranked opponent. I don't even know why he's technically ranked based off merit. But he seems like a good guy, and he's definitely a very talented fighter with a very exciting future. But I have Cory in this fight. I just think his experience, his striking pedigree, he's gotten better in the grappling, and he just seems like a really smart fighter. Umar is ultra talented, his striking's solid, grappling's obviously probably very, very good. Got good physicals, but you know, that might just be it. That might be the key to victory here for him against Cory. Might just out-muscle him, get him to the ground. Obviously, Cory is, you know, that loss versus Aljamain Sterling seems to be what some people think is going to happen again. But I think he's much improved since then, especially on the ground. You know. But yeah. Apparently Umar is Brazilian. Okay. But yeah, I got Cory by 4th round KO. If Umar wins, I won't be surprised. And whoever wins this should be a very exciting matchup for the winner of Sean and Rob. Personally, I would really want to see Umar versus Rob. That would be a fantastic fight. Yeah. Obviously, Cory versus Sean would be another fantastic fight. And it should, and obviously, whoever wins this is next. So it's very interesting. I gotta skip through this. Cory's model is a little scuffed. Hopefully he gets an update after this fight. Umar's looks solid. It might be in. As for the rest of the card, I think the co-main is Shara Bullet versus Shell Ogachechek. I always forget his last name. But oh, he dropped him instantly in the first round. Oh, you do not want to be on the ground with him, Cory. Well, it's over for Cory, guys. Oh, the undisputed sweep strike. Anyways, as for the rest of the card, I think Michelle versus Shara Bullet is or Michael. I think it's not Michelle. I'm saying Michelle because he fought Michelle this year. It's been a rough year for Michael. Oleg. I'm just gonna call him Michael Oleg. But yeah, he's a very talented fighter. He's a powerful striker, but he's just had a bad year. Obviously, he's got finished twice in the first round, but by two very excellent fighters, in Kevin Holland and Michelle Pereira. So yeah, it's not the worst losses in the world to take. It is obviously unfortunate for him, but I think he gets back on track in this one. I do think he'll beat Shara Bullet in a big upset on the odds. A lot of people are saying it's going to be close, and I agree with that sentiment that it will be a much closer fight than people think. I think on the feet, Michelle definitely has something in the boxing for Shara Bullet. I don't know if Shara Bullet has the amazing power that everyone says he does. Obviously, he knocked out his last opponent, but his last opponent was a 3 days notice guy who really only stood in front of him, didn't do much. I forgot his name, but it was some kind of weird name. Yeah. Obviously, victim of circumstance there. He had like 4 different opponents leading up to that fight. But you know what it is. You know, I do think that Mika will win. But if Charlotte Bullet puts on a masterclass, I won't be too surprised. I will also won't be surprised if Michael also pulls out some grappling stops, maybe shoots a couple takedowns in on him. I don't know. Very interesting co-main. Obviously, the feature fight I think belongs in the co-main, maybe even as 5 rounds. But again, these two in the feature fight are a little bit inactive to really trust them to have an exciting 5 round co-main, which is no fault of them. I'm obviously talking about Cheeto Vera and Davis and Figueiredo, Figgy. And I do think Figgy's going to win this one by decision. I think he's going to use his wrestling. I think his power is really going to stave off Cheeto. Obviously, Cheeto's a very powerful person, but I don't think he's active enough to really dismay. I think it's the right word. Dismay. Figgy from having his way in the grappling. Yeah, I don't think his takedown defense is the greatest. Cheeto's. I think on the feet, I think they're both technically on about the same level, but I think Davison has the speed and power advantage, which is going to do a lot for him on the feet. Even if Cheeto is obviously, you know, a bigger opponent. It's interesting. We'll see how it plays out. It's definitely a very interesting fight, and if Cheeto can win this, he's right back in the top 5. There's a legit win for him. Jesus, pepper in the body. And I think whoever wins this should fight Piotr Jan for a title shot. And yeah, very excited for it though. Even if it does have the potential to be boring, obviously they can be very inactive when they want to be. Just their styles, man. So Cheeto's the homie, but Figgy's also the homie. So I'm not really rooting against anyone in this fight, but I am betting on Davison Figueiredo, the God of War. He has to go. Anyways, next I think is Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa, and sadly I do think Tony Ferguson is too washed. I mean, obviously Michael Chiesa is no spring chicken himself. You know, he's older, he's worn, he's gotten finished and hurt, and he's not at his best anymore either. But he's just not as far gone as Tony, in my opinion. At least he's lost. You know, I'm not gonna dismay Tony's wins because obviously he's only lost to like ranked fighters. I mean, obviously the only fighter that he lost to that wasn't ranked in the last like year was Nate Diaz, and that was like 2 days notice. So no blame to him really there. I mean, Bobby Green I guess is unranked now, but he was ranked for. Just lost it to Patty Pimblett. Also beat Tony Ferguson. So it's not the worst losses in the world, but it's also just he just doesn't look like Tony Ferguson. And it really does suck that he has a really good possibility of losing tomorrow, and that's going to be the most losses in history. The biggest loss streak. Which is just really, it really sucks, man. 12-fight win streak to an 8-fight losing streak would be an insane way to go out. You literally couldn't talk about his legacy without mentioning the fact that he ruined it by fighting so much after his prime was done. But you know, it's what it is, man. His decision, his choice. He's still a legend of the game, and he always will be. Future Hall of Famer and stuff like that. But you know, I have Michael Chiesa by 3rd round. I think next is Dern versus Lupita Gomez. This is a hard fight to predict, actually. I really don't know, because Mackenzie Dern sometimes looks like she's made serious improvements in her game. I think it was the Angela Hill fight that convinced me that she could actually be a threat. Maybe a threat. Maybe at least be a top 5 contender at some point. And maybe she was already top 5? I can't even remember. I think maybe she was top 5 when she lost to Yan Xiaonan. But anyways, I just don't... She fell in love with her terrible stand-up and got absolutely bludgeoned by Andrade. And then her Lemos fight, while it was a great fight, didn't look that good in it. It was surprising to me that she thought she won. When I watched it, I thought it was a clear Lemos win, but I guess I guess it wasn't really like that. I don't know, I might have to rewatch that, because like I said, it was a good fight, so maybe I'll go back to it, Lemos and Dern. And maybe she does belong, because obviously Lemos is a top 5 opponent, but then again, she just lost to Vera. But I think Vera versus Dern would actually be a good fight, at least when it comes to the ground game, because Dern has obviously a very solid ground game. One of the big reasons why I think she could go far, or far enough to at least be a consistent top 5 contender, but she just thinks she's a boxer now. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but I have Dern. Shockingly, I shouldn't be picking her because Loopy looks good. She's been looking good. She had 4 wins last year, and I don't know if she's lost this year opening it up, but actually I'm gonna look at that right now. Yeah, she lost to Vera. So I mean, obviously that's not a bad loss at all, considering Vera is arguably next for a title shot, or at least for a #1 contender shot for Zhang Weili. You know, maybe her versus Suarez is the move to decide a title shot. But who knows? Who knows? Suarez kind of getting down there in health. So it's a very, very good fight night, obviously. Very exciting. So weird the way the UFC wants to do it. They want to really stack fight night cards now. Like, it was one thing stacking pay-per-view cards so high, like 299, 298, 300, obviously. You know, it was interesting stacking pay-per-view cards all around the same time frame, but stacking fight night cards, you know, during the summer is a really interesting move, because obviously you're doing so many other fight nights at the Apex that they're just not getting enough attention, which just might be the strategy for them now. You know? Do cards outside the US or crowded fight nights and stack those, and then just leave the Apex cards to fodder until they eventually get rid of them. Maybe that's the plan. They just be like, oh well, guys, we gotta get out of the US, because look, the Apex cards aren't getting any views. But then it's like, well, because the fights on them suck. On paper they do. The Vera versus Lemos card was good, but it was just like, or at least the main card was, but it's just on paper they just aren't intriguing. They have no stakes. It's just, oh, here's another UFC fight. I'll watch fights. I'll watch a fight night main event with Usman on it any day of the week, but it's just like, to any other consumer, it's not, and even to me, who loves fights and loves watching fights, it's just like, what am I doing with my Saturday, man? I'm watching. I forgot the co-main for that was supposed to be Tavares versus Jun Young Park. Is it? It's the Iron Turtle. Yeah, that's his name. That fight just got rebooked for the Apex again. It's like, that's a good fight. Okay, that should be on a main. But that's the problem with it, really. You know, it's like, oh, well, this fight should be. Oh, he knocked down Umar. What the? See, I'm just rambling now at this point. UFC. Although that that Apex fight night looks really good, but it's like, why is it in the Apex? Stop. Obviously, the UFC is contractually obligated to do like 55 events per year, and they feasibly can't do every event at a crowd. So you have to put some fodder on the board, really. But yeah, that fight night with Park versus Tavares as like probably the co-main, and the main event is Tyra versus Royval, which looks to be a flyweight title eliminator. So that is a really good Apex fight night, much improved. And Tyra versus Royval should be a banger. Very excited for that. I think it was October 12th is when that's happening. Oh, is this gonna be it? 4th round TKO. The UFC Undisputed Forever mod agrees with me, and they have Cory winning by finish against Umar in the 4th round. I agree, game. So hopefully this is our outcome tomorrow. No shade to Umar. Very excited for his future. This is just my belief. Good luck to both combatants. I'm hoping for a good fight tomorrow. a good fight card in general. And then also we go right into SummerSlam. So we have a very eventful Saturday ahead of us. Alright, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. I guess I'll let you watch the Cory Sandhagen belt ceremony, even though this isn't for a belt. They just don't have 5-round they just don't have 5-round main events without the belt. And those existed back in this day in the UFC.
Of the fourth round, declaring the winner by TKO, and now the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world, Cory Sandhagen.
Eddie Wineland captures the UFC bantamweight championship.
There you go, Sandman fan. Good luck to you.